in 2018, this book came out. It was called The Billion Dollar Whale. And I think a lot of Malaysians were really mad because that book pretty much had evidence that it was him and the bunch of people that took all the money out of the country. We had a caricature, a cutout of him in the shop, and we had a signboard that says like gifted like a Saudi prince. So everything that is about that, but it was just cheeky. It was something that we thought would be really fun. We didn't know it would just catch on and go internationally viral. Having big budgets are great, but having bigger balls is better.
Hello listeners, welcome to the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon podcast. And this podcast we talk to business leaders in Asia, and we have none other than Kelvin Long with us. And I'm wearing this t-shirt today, and he's wearing that APOM shirt, and he's one of my favorite brands locally. And we just talked to iconic co-working space by Sharon Tan, and she just walked in and she said her mother's wears it, the Chin Chai shirt and all the other shirts as well, the Stylo Grandma shirt, and yes, it's a good brand. And actually, I know Kelvin for many years. He also co-founded Lucideas, and I also interviewed there last time. That's how we met many years ago. And today we're going to talk about like local creativity, local branding, and things like that. So, Kelvin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So for all my guests, I'd like to ask this first question, which is, what is your favorite Kung Fu movie?
So I was just sharing. I don't have a kung fu movie in mind, but my dad used to watch this thing called Saitochi, the Blind Swordsman. So it's a samurai. He's blind. I think this was big in the 70s. So he doesn't say a word. He's blind, and a lot of the movies are quiet, but he is very fast with his katana. Right. So that was quite a cool thing that was introduced to me by my dad. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, check out Zaitochi.
I have not heard of it, and it's an interesting concept, a blind samurai, right?
Swordsman.
What's cool about it as swordsman?
Well, what's cool about it is that, well, number one, he's blind, and he's able to experience the world around him and know when he's in danger or when he needs to protect someone. And the choreography is so good, right? Because when he gets into a fight, all you see is like, and then you see the guy cut into half. So it's really brilliant. So it was filmed like I think in the 70s. So yeah, so you can tell it's all old school, but the effects back then you don't have all CGI, but it's very engaging actually, the storyline. So check it out.
I think that's where the meme came from. So there's this meme where they pull out the knife and then the apple in half.
Yeah.
I think that's where it came from.
It's something like that.
Oh.
So when you see like he's surrounded by all these people, he's so fast with his samurai sword. He's like that. He just takes it out, puts it back in, and everyone's like cut into half and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, that's so interesting. I definitely will check it out.
Cool.
And thank you for coming on. So today I want to dive a bit into the early years first, from how I know you, which is Lucideas. And at that time, it was a very groundbreaking thing. You know, you had a lot of awards, and I know that you worked with brands like M-Bank last time, and also Revive was one of your campaigns. So maybe tell us, how do you start Lucideas, and what experiences you had with them as well?
Well, I came back from the States in about 2000, and then I started working for a local agency. Actually, no, I actually went to... Okay, so what happened was I was studying in the States industrial design. One of my electives was advertising. And then I thought to myself, with an industrial design degree, what was I going to do back in Malaysia? So one of my electives was actually advertising, and I found that to be something that was more interesting than industrial design. So when I came back, I joined a local, very small advertising school. It was called Sledgehammer, founded by Hamanda Singh. So I went to Lim Kok Wing to check it out. I went to a few design schools, but when I went to sledgehammer, it blew me away because he had industry leaders teaching the class. So you weren't taught by some graduate,
Some academician.
some academician, right? You were listening to the people that were in the industry. So it was a groundbreaking agency. I mean, not agency. It was a groundbreaking school. It was a college at the time, very ahead of its time. So we had Janet Lee teach us copywriting. We had the founder of Arachnid. I forgot his name.
Wing
Wing Kyong teach us about interactive stuff and all these, what's his name? Mr. Bong, he was in O&M. We had Tony Salva Mutu from O&M teach us about account directing. So you had industry professionals teaching us. It was groundbreaking. They didn't teach you the craft. They taught you how to come up with the idea. So that was a big eye-opener for me. And then I moved into an agency after that. So Janet Lee moved into a company called Gun for Hire. So she pulled me along as well. So I was there as an art director / copywriter, trying to figure out where my footing was. And she ended up telling me that you're a better copywriter.
Which is a compliment.
Which is a compliment.
Yes.
Which is a compliment because I wasn't so technically on the Adobe stuff, on the Illustrator stuff. And then after that, after about 2 years, I came out to start up on my own because I felt that I really wanted to do some really groundbreaking stuff. I think I had this idea of the ideas can be pushed. Work can be pushed a lot more. So I came out with a bunch of friends and we set up Lucideas at the time. And we got a few clients that we worked on, and from there we kind of just grew the client base. But at the time, to be honest, we were all creatives. We weren't so good at managing the business. That's for another story. But when you have a bunch of creatives doing the servicing, very passionate about the work speaks for itself. So I think in 2010, we were the only local agency to win a FE's gold and a bronze. And we were all about, at that time, local. We were the only kind of local agency out there really pushing the work. We were amongst the big boys.
Shout out to Janet Lee also. I'm trying to get her on soon. Soon she'll come on.
That'll be great.
Yeah, she said yes already, but we haven't fixed a time.
Yeah.
And so it's the advertising days, and you were like you said, the independent agency that was winning awards. And I think some of the campaigns I saw was the Revive campaign and some of the M-Bank work as well. Any other works worth mentioning?
We did some work for Kitchen that got us the goal for FEs in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. I'm getting old already to my timeline, so I think it's 2010. So that was when we got into social media very early. A lot of the big boys at the time did not really play in the social media game. So we were the first movers into social media. So back then, we had to launch this brand called Kitchen. Kitchen, the fashion brand called Kitchen? Niche Fashion, Kitchen. You'll see it around in the malls. So what we did was, at that time in 2010, if you remember, back then, handphones had just kind of become very popular. And we realized that when you go into shops the last time, they wouldn't allow you to take photos in the shops. Back then, no such thing as influencers. They say, oh, don't take photos at my shop because you might copy the design. But we started to do research and we found out that a lot of students, young people, would be going into the changing room to take pictures of themselves in their new baju, and then they would post it on Facebook. So one of the ideas was, we said, hey, let's do something really fun. Let's turn your changing rooms into a social media hub. So we actually turn each changing room to a contest. Post yourself in a shirt, tag as many friends. At that time, there was no such thing as most likes and tags. This is the Wild Wild West. So the young ones would go in there, take a photo of themselves, tag all their friends, and the picture with the most likes would win. So that campaign became very viral before the viral days happened. And that was how they increased their sales actually quite a bit because of that virality.
Hey everyone, this is the producer Elton, and we interview business leaders in Asia. And if this video brought you any value, click on the subscribe button, like the video, and share it with your friends.
I remember that campaign. I was in Sunway Pyramid kitchen and I took a photo also, but I didn't win lah because I know it was a campaign. I just tagged. I said, "Wow, interesting." I just tagged. I remember you sort of. If I remember correctly, the mirror had the instructions.
Correct.
The mirror in the changing room.
Correct. So that was something, I think, one of our most exciting campaigns. We did quite a lot of exciting campaigns, but this one was very simply using an insight and turning it into something back then that would get people to spread out the noise by itself. So that got us the goal.
Just for context, this is Facebook early days. It's not Instagram.
2010. Yeah, 2010.
It is tagging your friends with a Facebook photo.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, so it's Facebook early days.
Yep.
And just now you was talking to Sharon, which is from Iconic, and you said, okay, because of kids, then you started to create your own product. And
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Doof as well, and then of course APOM. So how do you transition from agency to here?
So we had a creative agency, and one of the times back then, beanbags was all the rage lah. And every office wanted a beanbag, and we couldn't find one. So the only way to get, I'm not talking about your father's beanbag, the uncle beanbag. We're talking about colorful, bright, neon beanbags. You couldn't find one here, and we actually tried to import it, but the importing cost was more expensive than the beanbag itself. So it would have cost a couple of thousands to ship it over. So that gave us an idea. It was like, why not create a brand of beanbags that we don't have over here locally? And it was a dream, right? Like for us, sometimes we always talk about owning our own brands, but it's actually the execution part where we talk, but we never really do. So that was when at that time, my fiance said, "Let's do it." I think it's a great idea. Let's do it. And she came the next day with tools and said, "Let's make it happen." And I was like, "Okay, let's do it." So from then we came up with the brand name. We went to carpenter workshops looking for places to. It was kind of like a side project. So she was in Malacca, I was here. And from that, we were able to make some prototypes. So it was called Doof Beanbags. So we made some prototypes. We started selling them in Bangsa just to test the market. And I think in December, Christmas, we had over 125 orders. So that was like, we were like, holy shit, this thing is going to take up a lot of our time. And so for us, it was like, let's create this brand. Let's make this brand be something that people will not believe it's from Malaysia until this day and people still buy the beanbag and they actually don't even think it's from Malaysia. So that was our first foray into product, and we were doing it on the weekends. We were delivering it on the weekends. We were doing the agency on the weekdays, kind of like a side hustle. But that opened up our minds into, hey, this is retail, and we need warehousing, we need operations, we need to deliver. That kind of a different aspect that you look at from just doing the creative work. And that was our first foray into product and owning a brand.
Yeah, and I remember seeing it in shopping malls and things like that. What do you think it is successful? Is it because there was a demand for beanbags and you couldn't find it?
So that's one of the things. I think a lot of it is to do with marketing. I mean, the market, right? So supply, demand. And at that time, every school wanted it. Every office wanted it. We are in Aloft. We were in every single room. We were in pretty much all of the international schools. We are in, I don't know whether you heard of Mind Valley.
Yes.
They got the Hall of Awesomeness. And so they were one of our first clients that said that we love your stuff. We're going to fill it up with 70 beanbags straight off the bat. So, we had a lot of queries, and that demand drove us to get the brand out there, build upon it. And that was our first kind of a separate from the agency, where my wife came in and really had to manage that side of things.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And this was before e-commerce, really, right?
Before e-commerce, before Shopee, before Lazada, before all of that. Yeah.
And
So
how they found out about the brand? Was it like a retail store or was it?
At that time, we did a lot of social media marketing, guerrilla marketing. We used to do a lot of, at the time, I don't know whether you heard of this Starlight Cinema. They had
Yes.
the outdoor cinema. So we were always at events.
Mm.
So we were in many events that were happening around like KL. We would participate in it. We were in the hot air balloon festival. We were in some of the golf events. They wanted beanbags there, so we were very active with that. Yeah, and kind of like once you are known, then people will start looking for you. So Facebook was very core for us at the time. Yeah, at that time. Yeah.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. And today I'm wearing the shirt, APOM shirt.
Cool, man.
So like we were just talking about what this means. So it's like Huat Ha and Soar High. It sounds positive, but it means sounds the same as another Chinese word, which you get it. If you get it, you get it, right? So like, how do you eventually move to APOM?
So after Doof, we felt like we were creating a brand that was a bit foreign to Malaysia. And I'm not sure if you remember in 2016, the country wasn't in a good place. And if you just to bring you back, it was a lot of birthday rallies, a lot of corruption, charges were coming up, and there was this sentiment where a lot of our friends was also leaving the country. So that was one aspect of it. Another aspect of it was some of our friends came from overseas, and we brought them to Central Market because they wanted to get souvenirs. And where you go, Central Market, right? And when we brought them there, I was like, wow, is this all we can do? Just I love KL, Twin Towers, and the typical hornbills. And I felt like as a nation and a country, there was so much more that we can showcase. So that was the spark of the idea that we got to do something for the country that represents us as a culture. So if you see like slangs, people come, they don't know what is walau, what is chin chai, what is I say man. It's very Malaysian. So we actually have the whole slang series that was actually promoted. Of course, one of our hit series was Walau, that guy stole 2.6 billion from us. So it was an underlying joke. You get it if you get it, but that sold really well at the Rio fairs because people were finally saying, wow, there's some brand out there that's actually speaking that what we didn't dare talk about, right? So we were scared when we first launched. We were like, oh shit, are we going to get in trouble with this? But people loved it because we were just so kind of like speaking the sentiment of the nation. So a lot of the t-shirts that you see, a lot of the designs that we have, it's kind of like if you get it, you get it. So like the shirt, Huat La Soar High, if you get it, you get it kind of a thing. So we like to play the cheeky tone and manner. We like to play in the middle of the lines, kind of cheeky Malaysian humor. Yeah.
And I also remember that we met recently at the Business Growth Summit. You had this campaign as well for, I think, the Jolo cutout, was it?
Yeah. So in 2018, this book came out. It was called The Billion Dollar Whale. And I think a lot of Malaysians were really mad because that book pretty much had evidence that it was him and the bunch of people that took all the money out of the country. So we were angry. Everyone was just on social media banging, like, what the hell, And we said, as a local brand, we got to do something about this. Let's make fun of it. Let's turn everyone's anger into something that is fun and cheeky. So we made Jolo a Santa Claus. We turned him into Santa Claus. instead of Santa, it became Jolly the Santa, and we had the lines like "Gift it like you stole it," uh, "Run party jolly" or something like that. And like just really cheeky lines. We had a caricature, a cutout of him in the shop, and we had a signboard that says like gift it like a Saudi prince. So everything that is about that, but it was just cheeky. It was something that we thought would be really fun. We didn't know it would just catch on and go internationally viral. So someone came to the shop, snapped a photo of it, posted it on Facebook. And my dad came to me and said, "Did you guys do this?" On his WhatsApp group. You've made it when your dad comes to you and shows like, "Did you guys do this?" We're like, "Oh shit," because it got shared around. So that campaign actually got about 20 over media channels picked it up. So NST called me. I don't know how they got my number. They called me, and I was pissed scared because I was like, "Shit, are they gonna be like, gonna write this as though like it's a bad thing?" But we were so lucky that they understood the humor. So it was NST, it was Star, it was Singapore, and it was I think about 20 people started calling. I don't know how it was just call after call after call, and I think a couple of days later, even CNN got in touch. We were like, "Oh my gosh, CNN," right? Like, wow. We told them about the whole campaign, and they laughed. They said, "This is great," and whatever. And they wrote about it, and it was till to this day one of the campaigns that put us on the map. Put APOM on the map. And it's still who we are. We didn't do it to get attention. We did it because we've always done it. It was just something that we wanted to take a really grim situation and make fun of it. And I think a lot of Malaysians appreciated that humor, and they supported it by buying the stuff. And so we had sales coming in from Hong Kong, Australia, Korea, United States. It was quite crazy.
Yes, it was a global phenomenon, I would say. And another campaign I really liked that you did was the Jalan Bapakau campaign, which is a very local thing. Like in Malaysians, we see someone hogging the road or someone blocking the way and say, "Oh, is it your father or grandfather's road?"
Yeah.
And that did very well as well, right?
Yeah, so what we realized is that, we like taking terms like nuances of the local things and turning it into culture, pop culture. So I think there are many things in this country that we take for granted that you kind of miss when you're away. So I think coming back from the States, I start to see there's so many unique things about this culture. Like we speak in 4 different languages. Hey, mau cha, mau tapao, something. It's crazy, right? No other place in the world that you do this, right? And when we want to look for a plane, we use the bomo with the coconuts. I mean, where else in the world do you see this, right? So Jalan Bapakau was something that everyone kind of says, but no one really coined it to turn it into merchandise. So what we did was at every single shop, we put a signboard saying Jalan Bapakau. And we turned it into t-shirts and a cap and a mug. And it's been one of our best sellers because, people relate to it. They relate to it, and they have car stickers that they put onto the back. So it's a crazy idea that we put out, but we also realized that another cafe in Pahang, Jerantut or something, also put up the sign in front of their cafe, Jalan Bapakau.
Yeah.
So even though we know that it's an idea that was inspired by us, but ultimately we are really kind of proud to say that these ballsy ideas that we are putting out there is getting receptive to Malaysia. So I think Malaysia, 10 years ago, we were very quiet. We were very kind of better not stand out, better not say anything to get us in trouble. I find that now, and with the whole ballsiness campaigns of Lucid, is really standing out, really voicing out, and that's what we try to do. get ideas to be accepted. That, hey, I didn't know that Jalan Papakau can be a T-shirt, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's so impressive, and I love the campaigns. So many campaigns or t-shirts, like Sharon was just mentioning the Chinchai t-shirt,
Yeah.
and so many campaigns that you've done. I think my next question is more a LinkedIn question. This is a LinkedIn question. So because it's so much creativity, and you've led these companies in creativity, and I imagine it's not yourself that's just the creative person. How do you cultivate this creativity in your teams?
Wow. I think it's to have a very clear mission. So looking back, I can connect the dots. They always say that, right? Like sometimes you're there, but you don't really see the dots until you look back. Like, why did I start Lucid Ideas? Why did I also inspired to build that beanbag uh, company, or even APOM? And really, the core mission is to say that in Malaysia boleh lah, we've got so much talent here. We have, we can be better, right? I mean, back then, a lot of the reasons why we started Lucid was we saw the billboards that were out here, and it was so badly done. I mean, the campaigns and the design back 20 years ago, it looked like it was done on PowerPoint or Microsoft Word, right? But I think that inner fire of making Malaysia more interesting. I've come to realize, I'm almost 50 now, and I've come to realize that even on my LinkedIn page, I put there, what is your title? And it says making Malaysia a little more interesting. And I think looking back through the work that we do in the agency, through the products that we create, we really want to make, I think Malaysia is interesting, but a little more interesting, making it a bit more fun, a bit more quirky, a bit more personality. So in the door of our agency, we have the mission on the main door that says making Malaysia a little more interesting. So I think the way we hire, the team that we get on board needs to be on board what we do. So they don't just come in going like, I'm just a designer, or I'm a printer, I just do this and I'm out. They have to realize that everyone on this team, that they're doing work that when we put out there represents the country, also inspires people to go, wow, it makes people laugh. So a lot of our products, when we go to the shops, people come in, they have a good time and they laugh. So I think that's the power of the work that we do. And when we are inspired to do that, and it's so much fun. Like I wake up and come to the office knowing what the mission is. And it's fun because we all about, hey, what's the next funny thing that we can create? And when we laugh and we have a good time in the office, we know that that's the idea that we want to get out and execute.
Yes, I think that you hit it on the nail there. You're having a clear mission statement, and recruiting, getting people, and getting people together for that same mission. That's very admirable. And I think my next question is, you mentioned this word a few times already during the interview, is the word ballsy. You just now, we were just talking about an accounting firm, and you said, okay, that accounting firm is very ballsy. They're trying to change the way accounting is going to work.
Yeah.
So like, what is this thing ballsy marketing to you?
So also, I think like I've worked with small clients, I've worked with big multinational clients. Where we find the niche is the clients that want to do ballsy work. And what do I mean by ballsy? I mean that we have a tagline on the agency. It's called, having big budgets are great, but having bigger balls is better. Because what's the point of working with the biggest multinational company, but all your work is just run-of-the-mill, boring stuff, right? So we've come to realize that I think over the past couple of years, SMEs are starting to realize the power of branding and the importance of branding. And I don't know whether there's a next generation coming up, or maybe the awareness of social media, saying that we have to be on social media now, we need a voice, that they are understanding that, hey, I got to stand out, which is all part of branding, right? So we realize that the bigger agencies or the multinationals tend to fit in. They don't want to stand out. But the ones that are kind of, the ones that we love working with are the ones that are ready to do something ballsy, meaning having a campaign that they're not afraid to stand out. So that's when we really fly, when we find like an accounting firm like CKP, who's the founder, is really trying to change the industry. That's when we find a beautiful match that, they are receptive to ideas. And Ballsy is what we've been always doing. It's just, pushing the work. Yeah.
That it takes two to tango. So it takes
Definitely.
a ballsy client plus a ballsy agency to work together. A lot of times it's one-sided, then it's, but like you said, if you had a ballsy accounting firm and yourself, then it works very well together. And I
Definitely.
think I like your passion. After all these years working in advertising, doing all these campaigns,
Yeah.
you still have that passion to create something different, something unique and ballsy as well. That's ballsy next t-shirt. got balls or something. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think the last question before we go, there's so much gold today in this interview, is what's next? You have Doof, you have APOM, and then what is next in the future?
Okay, this is a little secret lah. A little secret out of the bag. But we're looking at I'm looking at redefining what a creative agency is. The next step of where we want to go is a multifaceted agency. I think a lot of companies are very one-sided. I think a lot of my inspiration came from a company called Asylum, Chris Lee. I don't know whether you've heard of him, but he's one of my kind of inspirations, because he started out in advertising, then he created his own product, and now he runs a complete brand experiential company. So I go like, we're not just an agency, we also run our own brands, but now I think we also are looking at ourselves as a media company. How can we be a creative agency? I like to coin it the super creative agency, where it's not just advertising, but we can do retail and we can do media as well. So that's the next step where we're going. Of course, the dream is always to make APOM into be in every state of the country. That's on the retail side. We've got other ideas, not so firmed up yet, but it is about really becoming the shop that represents the country and available at every tourist destination. That's for APOM, the retail side.
Yes, I hope you can get APOM in Genting and Langkawi. They should be able to
Hopefully.
get Sabah Sarawak as well, and tap into the Sabah Sarawak lingo. We were talking about lingo just now. So it's very commendable. I'm really happy to have you here today, because you're not just an agency. There are a lot of agencies that are no longer around, but you started your own product. You started your Doof and then APOM, and now you are changing the culture and changing basically the culture of Malaysia. So thank you so much, Kelvin, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I will shout out to Iconic Co-working as well before we go. So we are at the space, and we are here, and we were just talking Sharon has many spaces that we can use, and it's a great supporter of local businesses as well. A lot of communities are here, run a lot of trainings and things like that, and also they are supporter of the podcast. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you as well, and thank you again, Kelvin, for coming on.
Thanks
and
for
thank you
having
for
me, Bob.
sharing your story and coming all the way from KL when today is holiday in KL and it's raining as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.